There is a day that arrives once a year like a hand placed gently on your shoulder. Not loud, not announced, not decorated with fireworks or ceremony, but felt, deeply, wordlessly, unmistakably felt by something older than your name, older than your story, older than everything you have been taught about who you are and what you deserve. That day is today, April the 19th. In the ancient world, across cultures that had no common language and no shared border, this date was recognized with a reverence that modern life has nearly forgotten. The Persians called it a day of sacred fire and renewal. The Celts understood it as a threshold, a crossing point between the dying world and the world being reborn. The agricultural civilizations of the Near East planted their most precious seeds on this day, not out of habit, but out of faith that the earth was listening, that the earth was ready, that something in the invisible order of things had tilted toward abundance and would remain tilted for those willing to receive. The universe, the Buddha taught, is not indifferent. It is responsive. It moves in cycles of giving and receiving, of dissolution and emergence, of winter and flowering. And there are days within those cycles that carry a particular quality of openness, like a door left ajar by the cosmos itself. When the distance between what you are and what you are capable of becoming grows suddenly, mercifully thin. April the 19th is one of those days. You are here. You open this door. And that choice, however small it may feel right now, is the beginning of everything. Ask to walk this path with us and continue receiving these ancient teachings week after week. I invite you to subscribe to this sanctuary, a community built not on distraction, but on depth, not on noise, but on the quiet, faithful practice of awakening. Because what we are going to do today is something the world rarely offers you permission to do. We are going to receive. In the Pali Canon, there is a word that the translators have long struggled with. Puna. It is most often rendered as merit, which is correct but incomplete. Because puna does not merely mean the accumulation of good deeds in some cosmic ledger. It means fullness. It means ripeness. It means the condition of a being who has aligned their inner world so completely with the Dharma, with the truth of things, that the outer world begins to reflect that alignment back in the form of abundance, opportunity, healing, and grace. The teachers say puna cannot be forced. It cannot be purchased or performed. It can only be cultivated, the way a farmer cultivates soil, the way a musician cultivates silence between notes, patiently, consistently, with faith that the invisible work is happening even when the visible results have not yet arrived. April the 19th is what the monks in the Thai forest tradition would call a day of Punna Kala, a time of merit, a time of ripeness, a day when the seeds of all your quiet efforts, your prayers, your acts of kindness, your moments of genuine presence, all rise closer to the surface of your life, ready to break through. This is not superstition. This is the teaching of dependent origination, pratitya samutpada, the recognition that everything arises from causes and conditions, and that there are moments when the conditions align in ways that make previously impossible things suddenly possible. Today is one of those moments. The question is not whether the abundance is available. The question is whether you are open enough to let it in. Let us begin by clearing the channel. Because abundance, in the Buddhist understanding, does not flow toward a cluttered mind. It cannot find its way through a consciousness that is thick with worry, with resentment, with the low, constant hum of a nervous system that has forgotten how to rest. The first gift you can give yourself on this day of Puna is the gift of mental space. Sit wherever you are and become still. Let the body settle like sediment dropping to the bottom of a glass of water. Now, watch the mind. Watch it without judgment, without the need to fix or improve or understand what it is doing. Simply observe the weather of your thinking with the detached, warm attention of a person watching a river from a high bank. There will be thoughts about what you have not done, thoughts about what you should be doing, thoughts about whether any of this is real, whether abundance is something that actually happens to people like you, whether you are the kind of person the universe notices. Let all of that move through. In the Zen tradition, there is a practice called Shoshin, beginner's mind. The mind that meets each moment without the accumulated weight of every previous moment. The mind that arrives at April the 19th, not trailing the disappointments of every April before it, but genuinely, courageously empty. Shoshin is not ignorance. It is the highest form of intelligence available to a human being, and it is the condition in which true abundance can be recognized and received. Because abundance is already present. It is already here, surrounding you, embedded in the very fact of your breathing, in the extraordinary generosity of a body that heals itself without your instruction, in the light that falls on your face each morning without asking anything of you in return. The clearing of the mind is not a preparation for abundance. It is the recognition that abundance has never been absent. It has only been obscured. And today, on this sacred threshold of April the 19th, the obscuring thins. Breathe in, breathe out, and for one moment, let yourself be as empty and as open as the April sky. Now step outside. Or if you cannot, close your eyes and let your body remember what the skin of a tree feels like under your hand. Because on this day of abundance and barakat, the living world is not a backdrop. It is a participant. The ancient agricultural traditions that honored April as a time of blessing understood something that modern psychology is only beginning to articulate in its own language. The earth is not merely the place where abundance grows. The earth is abundance. It is the original teacher of generosity, giving without calculation, giving without expectation of return, giving in proportion not to what is deserved, but simply to what has been planted and tended with care. The forest monks of Southeast Asia, those quiet wanderers in the tradition of Ajahn Mun and Ajahn Chah, believed that the natural world carries a frequency, a vibrational quality that the human nervous system is designed to receive and be transformed by. They did not go to the forest to escape the world. They went to the forest to find the world as it actually is beneath the surface of human busyness. And what they found was this: that every plant, every tree, every root system drinking from the same underground water as its neighbors, demonstrates the teaching of interconnectedness, of Indra's net, of the way all things support all other things in the great web of conditioned existence. The lotus, that most beloved symbol of Buddhist teaching, rises from the mud of the swamp into the open air of its own beauty, not by rejecting the mud, but by drawing from it every nutrient it needs to bloom. This is the teaching of this day, and the abundance does not come from conditions that are already perfect. It comes from knowing how to receive what is already present, however murky, however difficult, however different from what you imagined. On April the 19th, the earth is in its fullest phase of giving. The trees are releasing their medicines into the air. The soil is warmed and alive with the intelligence of 1 billion organisms doing exactly what they have always done, which is to transform what is broken into what is nourishing. Go to the nearest green thing. A park, a garden, a single potted plant on a windowsill. Place your hand on its leaves or its bark or its soil, and say, without embarrassment, without self-consciousness, without the need to explain this to anyone, I receive what this day is offering. I am part of this abundance. I belong to this generosity. The plant will not answer in words, but your nervous system will feel the reply. There is a teaching in the Anguttara Nikaya, a beautiful and often overlooked sutra, in which the Buddha describes what he calls the 4 divine abodes, Brahmaviharas, the qualities that, when cultivated, align a being with the deepest grain of the universe. The first is metta, loving kindness, the wish for all beings to be happy, beginning with oneself. The second is karuna, compassion, the wish for all beings to be free from suffering. The third is mudita, sympathetic joy, the ability to rejoice in the good fortune of others without contraction, without envy, without the small and painful belief that another person's abundance diminishes your own. And the fourth is upekkha, equanimity, the quality of radical trust, the deep, unshakable faith that things are unfolding as they must, that the intelligence operating beneath the visible surface of events is not random but purposeful, not indifferent but endlessly quietly oriented toward the flourishing of all that is alive. These 4 qualities, when genuinely cultivated, do not merely make a person kinder. They change the energetic signature of a life. They make a being what the tradition calls receptive, open, a clear channel through which the generosity of existence can move unobstructed. April the 19th is a day to practice mudita with particular intensity, because abundance, when it is truly understood, is never a private event. When you receive, you also become capable of giving. When you open, you also become capable of sharing. The Sanskrit word for this quality of open-handed, fearless generosity is dana, and it is one of the first and most foundational teachings of the entire Dharma. Today, in the spirit of mudita, I invite you to feel genuine joy for every abundance you witness around you. The neighbor who just found work, the friend whose health is returning, the stranger whose child is laughing in the street. Their abundance is not in competition with yours. In the economy of the Dharma, joy expands when it is shared. Abundance multiplies when it is celebrated. Rejoice. And in rejoicing, you become more like the thing you wish to receive. But there is another dimension to this day that the most ancient traditions all recognized, though they named it differently: the dimension of surrender. The Sufi poets called it fana, the dissolution of the small self into the vast self. The Christians called it grace, on the recognition that the human will, however effortful, cannot by itself command the deepest goods of existence into being. The Buddhist teaching calls it the releasing of tanha, of craving, of the desperate grip that pushes away the very things it most desires. Bereket, the Turkish word for abundance and blessing, carries within its roots something that pure translation loses. It holds the quality of being blessed from beyond, of receiving something that comes not from your own effort alone, but from a generosity that exceeds your own deserving. This is the truth that the ego resists most fiercely. Because the ego believes in control. The ego believes that abundance must be earned through sufficient struggle, sufficient cleverness, sufficient vigilance. And so it holds on. It strategizes. It monitors. And it lies awake at 3 a.m. reviewing its plans for preventing loss. And in all that holding, all that vigilance, it creates exactly the conditions that make abundance impossible to receive. Because abundance, like all good things in the Buddhist teaching, flows most freely toward the one who is not clinging to it. Open your hands right now. Not metaphorically. Actually open your palms and turn them upward, toward whatever sky is above you. Feel the air moving across them. Feel how different it is to hold your hands like this, open and receptive, than to hold them in the fist of effort and control. This is the gesture of bodhicitta, the awakening heart, the heart that has become spacious enough to let the whole world in. On this day of April the 19th, this day the cosmos has tilted toward abundance. Akaska, practice the deepest form of spiritual courage available to you. Let go of the outcome. Trust the process. Surrender to the intelligence that built your heart and fills your lungs and turns the seasons in their faithful, beautiful succession. Say these words with your whole body, not just your voice. I release the need to force what wants to flow. I open to the abundance that is already on its way. I trust the intelligence that governs April and the turning of all seasons. I am a channel, not a container. What I receive, I will offer. What I am given, I will share. I am part of the great generosity of existence. And that generosity knows my name. And then, as the light of this abundant day finally yields to the tender darkness of April evening, let yourself lie down. Why? Because the final and most profound ceremony of any day of Punya is the ceremony of rest. In the Tibetan tradition, the moment between waking and sleep is described as a doorway that only the prepared mind can pass through with full consciousness. It is called the hypnagogic threshold, the luminous boundary where the ordinary self dissolves and the deeper self, the one that is not afraid, the one that has never been diminished by loss or doubt or the exhaustions of samsara. That self becomes briefly, brilliantly available. The monks prepared for this threshold the way a great musician prepares for a concert. With reverence, with intention, with the quiet confidence of one who has practiced long enough to know that the performance, when it comes, will exceed the preparation. Tonight, prepare your sleep as the ceremony it deserves to be. Once you lie down, place your hands over your heart. Feel its steady, faithful beating. This heart has beaten for every moment of your life without rest, without holidays, without complaint. This heart is itself a daily miracle of abundance, a daily proof that the universe is generous beyond any calculation. Breathe in for 4 counts. Hold for 4. Breathe out for 8. With each out-breath, release one burden, one anxiety, one story about why abundance is not for you, one memory of a time when you reached out and the world said no. Let all of it leave on the breath. Not because it is not real, but because tonight you do not need to carry it. And as you sink into sleep, hold one image in the mind. The image of a field in the last light of April, green and open and damp with the rain that has just passed. The seeds everywhere beneath the surface, all of them pressing upward in the warm darkness, all of them doing what seeds have always done on days like this. Becoming. This is what your body will do tonight as you sleep. Become. Renew. Reorganize at the cellular level around the new intention you have planted today. The intention to receive. The intention to trust. The intention to live as a being who understands that abundance is not something that happens to certain people. It is the natural condition of any being who has learned to stop blocking it. Sleep now. Let the April night do its ancient, faithful work. And tomorrow morning, when you open your eyes to the light of April the 20th, you will carry with you something that was not there yesterday. The quiet, unshakable knowledge that the universe is generous, that you are worthy of its generosity, and that today, April the 19th, was the day you finally chose to believe it. Subscribe to this sanctuary and walk this path with us. The abundance that is seeking you deserves to find you here,